To our midweek meaningful conversation. It's to be quite honest, it's a miracle that we're here today. We've had so many technical difficulties. I had a really bad echo. I just kept saying the same thing over and over again. Maxine, we couldn't hear her, then she couldn't hear us, and now there's a slight delay at the beginning, but we're going with it because other than that, everything is working. So welcome back to our chat. So I'm here with Maxine from Never Too Late Our Journey and Paul from Narrowboat
Hello.
Life Unlocked. And both me and Paul have got a cold. So excuse any sniffles, coughs, or just
Definitely.
glazing over really. So let's find out where everybody is and what we've been up to. Maxine, where are you?
We're still on the Chesterfield. I think another week, and then we can get off. But we've been away for a couple of days up Yorkshire to surprise my mum for her idea. Her face was an absolute picture. Just enjoying spending time with the family.
Oh, lovely, 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 lovely. Paul, where are you and what have you been up to?
Yeah, we're on the Trent and Mersey, and last Monday, if that was our first cruising day, it would have been our last because I did 2 tunnels on my own, and when I got through the tunnels, it opened the heavens. But it was that horizontal rain that just soaks you through. I'm trying to hide the camera gear, trying to get the dog inside, trying to answer the phone. I had emergencies going on that I had to deal with. And Anthony got on the phone and said, "Can't believe this. I'm in the supermarket and I can't find our milk." And I'm like, "What about me?" I was dripping wet through. And he said, "It's sunny where I am." I was like, "Yeah." I felt like I was in the North Pole and he was moaning about milk.
That's so funny, isn't it? When the rain comes down like that, it just, especially when you're on the boat, just makes the world seem a very different place to when the sun is shining. So, we are currently at Cropperdy Marina. Yesterday we had a small I don't know what to call it. Well, stoppage. It stopped us in our tracks. So a tree's fallen down, blocked the canal. They've closed the navigation, and we had a heads up of this because as we were coming through one of the sets of locks that had some lock keepers on, someone had arrived from CRT and said, "Oh, there's reports that the canal's blocked and I'm just going to go down, we might have to shut it." So I sort of got a heads up, so it wasn't a complete shock this morning when we realized, oh, it's shut. So we're so close to Banbury, our destination, but we're not even going to get there. So, but it doesn't matter because Harry is going to come and pick us up today. We're going to go and see the grandkids, so it's all fine. I'm not letting it spoil the trip because well, there is no point. So anyway, just going to say hello to everybody. Hello, Mark and Deb, and one day more aboard, and now about Hakuna Matata and Kath and Jules. Hello to you all. Please ignore the sniffing and the general sort of coughing and choking. So today's topic was actually suggested by Mick, who lives in Thailand, and he'd actually been discussing this with a group of his friends, and it had caused a great conversation. And he said that he thinks it would be a good one for us to discuss. And it is this: how do you know when you have reached contentment in life? So I thought that was a good one to start with. So shall we start by trying to unravel what contentment is and then working out how we know when we've reached it in life? Should we do it that way? Okay. I did a quick Google, and the definition of contentment is a state of happiness and satisfaction.
Right.
Okay. So let's talk about contentment. Do you feel content, or well, let's start with there. Do you feel contentment in life now, as of this moment?
Yes.
Who wants to go first? Maxine, you're nodding.
Complete contentment since we moved on the boat. I'm feeling very calm. I haven't felt like this for many years. In a month of moving on board, became smooth and happy. And
that's lovely. That's so lovely to hear. So just because you kept cutting out a bit, so since you moved on to the boat, you feel really content with life. You felt less stress. You just feel really happy with life at the moment. That is so lovely to hear, Maxine. That's wonderful. Paul, what about you?
I think I feel contentment about 10 days a year, and that's usually when I'm lay on a beach on holiday, to be honest. I was hoping to have that feeling of contentment when we got the boat, and I think I did for the first couple of weeks. And I think, I don't know, maybe we've gotten out of the flow and we need to take a step back and think about why we've chosen this lifestyle. We paint this picture that it's all roses and castles on a boat. And I think this year has had a lot of challenges thrown at us because of the stoppages and water shortages, and it's reduced our journey length. And we feel like we're treading water and going up and down the same stretch of canal. And I don't know, it's a first world problem, isn't it? We sort of jokingly say to each other when we have a little moan, it's a first world problem.
Yeah.
I think for me, contentment is that happiness and a bit like calmness. Yeah. You know, I see a couple walking through the park, and if it's an old couple and they're holding hands, and I think, oh, that just looks so nice, doesn't it? Yeah. And I'm very thankful for what I've got in my life. I've got a loving partner. We've got a great lifestyle. Yeah. So I wish I felt more content. Does that make sense?
Complete sense. As always, Paul, me and you, we're the work in progress, and Maxine's like, he's
got it right.
Yeah. So, I think, we look towards you, Maxine, for the way to get it done. I'm with you, Paul, and I actually think I understand myself more now. So I felt exactly like that. And what I've come to realise, wherever I'm living, whether we're at the caravan or at the boat or at the little house or wherever, I still have the traces of my old life, which I sort of just slam onto where I'm living. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of those places, the house, the caravan, the boat, have the potential to create this wonderful, calm life. But I sort of keep slamming my old life, trying to sort of just make it work. And I think that for me, that's the mismatch. When I look at the definition, happiness and satisfaction, well, I feel happy quite a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's the satisfaction bit that I struggle with, because I think I'm always striving. And I'm going to be really careful what I say, because I know I've taken quite a lot of flack from people saying, Lisa, look, you know, you do enough, get over yourself. But I think it's inbuilt within me to want to do more, not to necessarily have more. I am actually completely satisfied with what we've got materially, but it's that striving, which is why I like a challenge. you know, whether it's the Project 333 or the walk in 25k, I like to do something that challenges me. Can I feel challenged and satisfied at the same time? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think you can you?
Well, they're sort of.
Think you can.
What do you think, Maxine?
No, I think I've said I'm content, but I always go and do lots of different things. But I know I'm quite happy and content. But what I do challenge myself and do different things, but still have that in.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that you still like to be challenged. You still like to do lots of things. Maybe the satisfaction that contentedness is actually letting go of the outcome of those things. Do you think that's it?
Yeah.
Do you think I've just struck the nail on the head? I've answered one of my questions that I've struggled with for so long. Let's just have a look at well, this is interesting. So let's have a look at some of these. Let me press the right button. That's a start, isn't it? God, it's going to be one of those days. So Kath says, I have only felt contentment now and again. And one of the things that I want to talk about in a little bit is whether contentment is fleeting or not. In fact, let's do that now. Is it fleeting? Is contentment something that you arrive at this place and you're like, I am, you know, like a Buddhist monk, I am content with my life. All is good. Or is it we feel these moments of contentment and then maybe something will happen, or we feel this desire to do something and then we get it back. What do you think, Paul? Is it fleeting or not?
Yeah. Do you think contentment is the same? For me, I think you've got to realize how lucky you are and what you've got in life to feel content. And I think sometimes if you're focusing on other things, and it's whether you're a positive person or a negative person, I guess. I think if you're a very positive person, you're going to be content with your lot.
Yeah.
And there's always something to be grateful for. I don't maybe. Yeah, that. And to me, I think I was joking before about when I'm on holiday, because you've not got that stress of work and phone calls and emails and jobs to do and house chores to do, and you're just relaxing on a beach, or you're with friends having a drink and sitting out having a meal in the evening, and I feel very content then, because I realize how lucky I am, but I'm also more relaxed than my normal environment.
So you think contentment and gratitude is really closely linked?
I think so.
I think so. What do you reckon, Maxine?
You're right there, Paul. And I think that's why I feel so of how my life is now. Things happen, but it's generally, it doesn't make me not feel content, but I still feel deep down in my life.
So you feel deep down like contentment. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and you have blips. It's just something you've got to overcome.
Yeah. So I wonder then what rocks us off course. So if we're feeling content, and if it is, you know, it comes in now and again, what gets us there? I think you've said gratitude, Paul, and I agree that helps me feel incredibly happy about life when I just stop to think how grateful I am. But I wonder what rocks us off. Is it life? Does life get in the way of contentment? You know, stuff comes up. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Let's have a look. Here's a good point from Tracy. I agree, Lisa. It's not wanting more, it's striving for something. So, yeah. Do you know what I feel? The word purposeful activity comes to mind. So, to be content with what you've got, but purposely doing stuff.
Yeah.
For me, ticks those boxes. So, let's have a look. Pamela, I am content in myself, but do worry all the time about my loved ones and the things that are going on in the world. Oh, Pamela, we are kindred spirits there. I love where I live and have wonderful husband and great daughter and grandkids. It's the bigger stuff, isn't it? It's the world. If only we could fix the world, honestly. If only. Kath says the same, that she says, yes, Pamela, I worry too much. And Tracy also says, it's easy to forget just how much we have and appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, sometimes if I'm feeling a bit fed up, it literally now just takes me a couple of minutes to just realize how grateful I am, what I have. And I think doing that over the years makes it easier and easier to realize, the things to be grateful for. So this is a great comment from Kath, actually. Surely contentment changes or we wouldn't ever change. So that is that's really good to talk about, because what you'd have been content with in your 20s or your 30s or your 40s, it does, I think it has to change, because otherwise we wouldn't grow. What do you reckon, Maxine?
I mean, what I wanted 10 years different to what I want now.
Yeah,
it probably will change, but at this point I'm completely content with everything I have. A few years it might completely change and find something else and something different.
Yeah, thanks, Maxine. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, the same really as what Maxine said. I think remind me the question. It's cold.
Kath said, surely contentment changes or we wouldn't ever change.
Yeah.
So
I was too busy listening to Maxine to think about my answer. Sorry, because I know. Yeah, definitely, because the things that we chased like 10, 20 years ago was sort of financial success and business success and, a nice house and a nice car. But then when we got to, a few years ago, then contentment for us and happiness for us was spending more time together, doing less work, not chasing material things, but that thing of time, it's the one thing we can't replace. And for us, it's being able to spend time together. And maybe that's why I'm not content at the moment, because I'm hoping that next year we can spend more time together, do less work. We've sort of put systems in place that will help us to do that. And also spend more time doing what we want to do, which is relaxing, being on the boat, doing my photography, going for long walks with the dog and picnics. So all the simple things in life
all those joys. I wonder whether, taking into account what you've both said and what Kath said, is that whether contentment is a cycle. So we're here and we're not that we're not happy, but we want more, or we want something, whatever it is. And then we go through the effort of making that happen. Sometimes it's an ease, sometimes it's a struggle, sometimes it feels that we're going to lose sight of what it is, but we go through the doing stage, and then we have this moment of relaxing into what we've achieved. Now, I don't mean that in like, a material sense, but of where we've come to. And then we're there for a while and we relax into that. Do you think it's human nature that we then find discomfort or dis-ease with where we're at, and that again starts the cycle of change, and then we find contentment within that. And then do you think it's human nature for us to I don't want to say go round in circles because that sounds negative, but for us to live within that cycle? Do you think that's the way we're built?
I think
Maxine?
So. I do, yeah, I think so. And I think you have different things, and as you grow as a person, so it's you to life, you have different things to, and so yeah, you'll have probably sort of years you're feeling that contentment just trigger, and you need to do something to align again.
Yeah. That's and I wonder if it's different. Like sometimes a cycle could be 5 years or 10 years, and sometimes it could be 3 months or a year or whatever. What do you reckon, Paul? Are we? Is it part of human nature to feel that?
For me, I think it's more regular than that, Lisa. I think because it's human nature to worry about tomorrow, worry about upcoming events and jobs and deadlines. And sometimes I find it difficult to live in the here and now. And I think if we all lived more in the here and now, not think about the past, not think about the future, we'd realize how lucky we are, most of us.
Yeah. Well, then we can really experience the joy of that day, can't we?
Yeah.
Because we're in the here and now. So that's lots of comments. Let's have a look. Right. Sharon, what's Sharon saying? Oh, right. I hope you're feeling better, Lisa. Thank you. I am much better. Contentment or happiness? I'm very happy where I am in life, but not contented. Surely contentment means not wanting anything. I still need different things to happen, but I know I will want more breath at the end. I will want more breath at the end. But life, surely contentment and not wanting anything. Is that like what I said at the beginning? Similar. I feel happiness. Like most days, I feel annoyingly happy, unfortunately for the people around me, right? I feel happy, but I'm always wanting. When I say wanting more, it's not, it's not fast cars and but it's that wanting to be more. So I feel that too, Sharon. I feel happy, but always wanting more.
Is it wanting more things in life, like joy and that feeling of contentment, or is it just wanting to achieve more in life? Is that what brings you happiness and contentment?
I don't know. I mean, I'm forever looking. I like a challenge. I do like it. Not I like really hard challenge. I don't want I don't want a challenge that's going to break me. I want a challenge that just pushes me to be a little bit more. Do you see what I mean? I have no desire to be broken and then
Is that because it makes you feel more alive?
I think so. I think it does. I think I would love to do a conversation on challenges, how they, whether they motivate us or demotivate us. I'd love to do that. So maybe next week. So Lee says, I feel contentment for myself is always evolving. What I'm happy with at present may not even be on my radar this time next year. That's like what we were saying. It changes. It changes all the time. Oh, I'm pressing buttons here. Tracy says, I always seem to be seeking something. Yeah, me too. It's that thing that you were saying, Paul. It's like if we were just here in the here and now, this is our life. Wow, so much to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be an interesting way if we could do that consistently every day.
Yeah, I think as outsiders looking in, they probably think we've got everything that we want and very happy and content. I mean, I'm looking at you now, Lisa, and I think you look really at home on your boat.
Yeah.
And Maxine, I know that you're really settled on your boat and you're loving the lifestyle. And I think people looking from the outside might think we should be more satisfied with life. But yeah, I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. The thing is, I am really happy, like I just said, and I'm not. It's not a dissatisfaction or an ungratefulness. That's what I. But like next year, as I've been mentioning, we're doing a massive shift again next year. We're shaking things up and we're refining, I like to see it as, not sort of bashing it all down and rebuilding. We're refining, and I think for us that feels really good. I think, like anything on social media, I mean, we come on here and we're like, we all vlog, we're all open, we open our lives, and I think there is that thing of people like, what are you even talking about? Just be grateful with what you've got. And I understand when people say that, but it would make us, it's not all we are, is it? We are multifaceted. So it's, I get it.
Yeah, again, to me, it's like living a full life, isn't it? I think if once we've left this earth, I think if somebody could write an exciting book about our lives, I think we'd all be quite happy, wouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm leaving all my YouTube vlogs. They're my legacy. Well, my grandkids can, whenever they say, "What was Yaya like?" and people say, "Just look at the chaos she caused." She went just look. That is who she is. We tell our story as we go along, don't we? And it's, to be quite frank, it's an unedited version. I mean, I know I edit the videos, but if it's and I think on that path to contentment is not always smooth or glossy or shiny, and that's why when you share something on social media, you get that back, because there's the two things, isn't there? There's that shiny Instagram, my life is perfect, but
unfiltered.
Unfiltered. And on the other hand, there's real life. And just as you described, coming through that, that day of cruising, Paul, with the rain and trying to get the dog in and the cameras in and deal with stuff on the phone when the rain's coming down, do you feel content in that moment? No, you don't. But it doesn't mean that like when you get in and take your coat off and you sit down and you realise all the emergencies, that everything got sorted out, then there's that moment of contentment. So maybe just
in a day, big adventure, isn't it?
What's that?
It's all part of the big adventure, isn't it?
It is. And boy, it would be dull if it all just went to plan, wouldn't it? So
it'd be nice though.
I know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, when you think of, when you think back to holidays, I know you painted a great picture, Paul, of that, the relaxing thing of, having a drink at the end of the day and you're sitting there and life is good. But when you think back, usually it is when things go wrong, the memories that happen. We went on holiday once, and Glenn and two of our children and some other friends all had to be airlifted off a cliff, right? In that moment, it was not great. It wasn't good. And our friend who I'm not saying he caused it. He didn't cause it, but he still says that's the best day of his life. When you look back. So usually is the things that don't go to plan that make stuff
Yeah.
memorable. Anyway, we've gone well off topic, haven't we? We have, yeah. So, yeah, I read that one from Lee. That's a really good point. Tracy says, I always seem to be seeking something. Here's a great one. I definitely want more from life. That's why I'm selling up totally and buying a boat. Right or wrong, I feel it has to be done, as it's been on my mind for so long. So absolutely. Is that Rob? Is it Rob? Phil.
Yeah.
Sorry, Phil. I your name was on the tip of my tongue. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I think Phil and all three of us, we've been through that complete life overhaul.
Yeah, we know where he's coming from, don't we?
Yeah, we understand that completely.
I know Phil's very anxious because he's given up his house that he's had for a long time, and he's happy in his house, but he's had this itch and this ache to get out on the canals in his own boat. And I think once he does it, he will love it. And you know, for us, and probably for you guys, at the time we thought, what's the worst that can happen if we don't love it? We'll do something else. But if we never try it, it's going to bug us for the rest of our life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Totally.
There's not a moment of regret that we did what we did. And I live now in the little house just a few doors down from our family home, the one we sold, and I never walk past it and feel, oh, I wish I still lived there. I do walk past it. I think we had so many happy memories there. Many. That was a life, you know, that was a life well lived in that house. But I don't regret it. But it is scary. It really is. Especially when you're jumping from one thing to another. So Mark has also been on Google and typed in contentment. I did exactly the same, as a state of happiness and satisfaction. Yeah. So what's Kath saying? For me, real contentment would include many things that can never be again. So I think true contentment will always elude me. I try to get as near to it as possible, though. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if you felt contentment, you know, that happiness and that satisfaction, and through whatever reason something in your life changes. It could be the loss of someone you love, it could be moving to an area and you grieve the loss of something or someone. I wonder whether that you feel that you can reach that again. That's really interesting, Kath. That really is. My brain is working so slowly today. Please forgive me for my slow working brain. And Kath also says, I don't think contentment by definition is supposed to mean a permanent state, but I think I've assumed it means a permanent state. This conversation has made me correct this now. And that is really interesting, Kath. I think it's opened my eyes as well. It's that thing sometimes when you feel something is out of reach or you're not there, and it's a bit like what you said, Paul, by living in that present time, if you can feel contentment in that moment, sitting down and having a cup of tea and just feeling happiness and satisfaction, that's contentment. If you can find these moments of happiness,
Yeah, I'm feeling more content now that we're halfway through this conversation, because it's, I'm sat here thinking, this is great. We talked about doing this last year, and we get to chat to each other every week, and we get to chat to all the people who are joining us. And I feel very happy at the moment. And I think, maybe, I think we just need to focus on the positives now in life and realize that actually we can be content more often.
Content more often. It's not this end goal. And I think for me, talking through that and realizing, for me, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but contentment is a cycle. It is a cycle in my life where I feel content and happy with the way everything is, but life doesn't stay the same anyway. So whether we're the instigator of change or change happens, change will happen, because life isn't static. So to be able to change and then feel this contentment, I like, that's been good for me to understand that.
Again, something will be thrown up.
I pressed the button and nothing's happened. Let me have a look. Let me do that again. I'll come back to you in a second, Maxine. Agree with that. Well, regret the things in life you have done, not the things you haven't. Sure, I won't regret it, though. Yeah, it'll be great.
No.
What was you just saying, Maxine? Sorry, I cut you off.
I'm just saying you have blips, and so it's those blips that bring you content over those blips, and then you're underlying. It's just life. You can't go way through, and it's just to make the most of those moves, and then just deal with the blips as they happen.
Yeah.
What's that saying? You've got to have rain to have rainbows.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, it's quite often when something happens that shows us what we don't want, that we get clearer on what we do want, isn't it? It's like, whether it be something or just your general life, when you're thinking this isn't serving me, this isn't what I want, and then you think, well, what do I want? And you get clearer through the stuff that that doesn't happen. So actually, that ties in with what Mark's saying. I've found recently I reach a content and happy state, but then get curveballed by events out of my control, which then affects me negatively. So yes, from where I am, it is a cycle of contentment, and I think that sums it up for a lot of people. You're merrily going along, you think, I've got it, I've sussed life, I'm happy, I'm content, and then something comes along and you're like, and I think years ago I would have seen it as like an up or down, so I'd be like, yes, life is good, and then someone would come along and be like, oh, I'm back to where I started. And then you have to sort of build yourself up, but now, understanding cycles a bit more, I realize that it's not like linear like that. It goes round, and I come back as a changed person through each cycle. Does that make sense? So I grow, I suppose. I mean, goodness knows how, but do you know what I mean? We obviously do change, because I'm not the person I was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So thanks, Mark, for that. That's really insightful. And Tracy's just said, perhaps contentment is in the moment. I think it is. And again, Lee comes back to this whole thing of the the curveball or the spanner thrown in the works. Are you more content when life is more within your control? When you have a spanner thrown in, does it make it less content? Maybe we like being in our comfort zones too much. I think I mean, that's why they call it comfort zone, Lee. It's comfortable there. That's what I think. And this is why I like challenges that I'm in control of. because it gives me that little bit of friction that makes me grow, but it's completely within my control. I think that's I think that's a really good point. Yeah, and Kath says, yes, I'm with cycles of contentment. Oh, I feel I've really learned something and understand contentment way more than I did when we started this conversation. So huge thank you to everybody. Have we chatted on for ages? 40 minutes, and I'm amazed because I didn't think my throat would hold out for more than 15. So I think we should call it a day there. I mean, not a complete day. We should end this conversation and maybe look for these micro moments of contentment throughout the day, and then see if those then can grow, to bigger and bigger times. It'd be really interesting to see. Maybe next week we could check in and see how content we felt and whether we've had more of those moments. And I think maybe being aware of that will make us check in with ourselves and think, actually, am I feeling quite content right now? And I think, well, I know for sure I will have more of those micro moments of contentedness. So yeah, let's do that next week. Let's
definitely.
And
I'm feeling more content already.
I always feel great after we've chatted. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Maxine. Thank you to everybody who has joined us. I've really enjoyed it. And hopefully we can chat again next week. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.